This is Nancy Moores again, and I'm really pleased that I get to ask this question.
Okay. And I hope I am too.
Many of us here are involved in the preservation community, and my partner and I are co-founders of the Hillcrest History Guild. So my question is, as the city shifts its focus from developing vacant land to designing infill development, the historic community character of our older communities is very much at risk. What solutions do you have that allow for new development while at the same time preserving existing community character?
We have a few historic properties in District 6, certainly not as many as you have downtown, Hillcrest, Bankers Hill, and areas like that. But one of the things I'm really interested in getting the communities to do is to get a sense of their architecture, of their history, and encourage and put whatever kind of squeeze we can on developers and redevelopment to come in and build along with that particular character. Now there's an opportunity in some places to come in and kind of build a whole new face that maybe hasn't been present, but at least represents whatever it is that people kind of, the best of what they see in their mind about their community. And I'm going to talk about physical buildings. I think that's very often what we're talking about. But to me, the character of a neighborhood is the pace of the neighborhood. You know, the comfortableness and the lifestyle and the feel and the quality of life that comes with it. So, you would want developers to come in and communities to be conscious of and encouraged to insist on not just character building and architectural wise, but the character of, hey, is this walkable here? Don't make it unwalkable. You know, is this slow and calming and green here? Don't make it less that way. I mean, the Balboa Median enhancement project that's been going on since I've worked at City Hall, we've been able to be a part of, literally has put in trees and beginning to will eventually kind of arch over Balboa Avenue and kind of slow down the community and make it feel more like that natural canyon kind of environmental environment that people are used to in Claremont. And to go in and help kind of do that sort of thing, to me is part of the whole saving the character of a neighborhood. Our malls there in Claremont, strip malls, big shopping centers, there's been a sense of, hey, we don't have gathering place, and so they've gone back in recent years and created squares and places where people can kind of gather, at least in the town square. And there's kind of been this attempt to do it down at Balboa and Genesee and make that whole area walkable and create some gathering space. And that's something that we continue to strive for. I happen to have a master's in church history. I love historical things. To the extent that we have some historic kind of buildings, and I think again of the Skate World property in Linda Vista, which is this old, military, almost Quonset kind of hall. Those are things that you want to take and you want to integrate then into design, and you want to preserve those buildings, and what you build new around it, you want to kind of fit in with that, rather than looking like we just lost all of that. I think that's very important to the people in Linda Vista. It certainly is in their current redevelopment proposals that be preserved. And so when we get in there and begin to rebuild around that building, I would be doing the best I could to encourage people and get some requirements in there that what we build adds to that architecture. And again, the character in other ways that I've talked about. And I do not have huge specific proposals beyond that in detail yet, like I do with finances.
Okay, well here's an easy one. What would you do to address homelessness?
I believe that our central core services need to be downtown. And I say that cautiously because there are many kinds of homelessness. And so we think of the people who literally wind up sleeping on the curb, people who may suffer from some mental illness. We happen to have in District 6 a chain of churches that contribute to family staying in their church building on a rotating basis through the winter. You have homelessness that hits people in varying stages of life, in varying situations, And so I wouldn't suggest those people go downtown and get in a homeless shelter. But for the, I think the stereotypical homeless, we have our transportation downtown. You know, the core of our bus and our trolley and everything else kind of meets downtown. We have a lot of the social services already stationed down there. We just have the patterns of life down there already for that kind of work. We had a person who suggested recently that we relocate a big homeless encampment out in Tecolote Canyon on the golf course and turn that into kind of a 2,000 person village. And we kept saying to them, you know, our goal is to make people whole and healthy and reintegrate them as fast as possible into society. This person kept saying, well, we would do that here. I'm saying, no, no, no. Geographically and every other way, you're taking them farther away. You're having to bus them to their services and their jobs. And, you know, you can't just have them here in a village of their own and isolate them and pretend that you're getting them back into the rest of the world. And we were kind of able to convince that person that that just wasn't going to fly. So when I say I believe the core services need to be downtown, somewhere we need to make a home near what we've already got and quit this business of, well, we'll just start rebuilding everything and pretend that we're going to move all those social services out and scatter them and create hardship on these people traveling from one to another across town. I mean, as it is, they can kind of walk on foot and get to several services in one day if they need to downtown. They have the accessibility again of transportation, but I do not pretend that that's where we want to have all of our services for people. So for families, for those who are more capable of holding down a job and well enough to do that and interested in, and at that point in life where they can do that, then we want to have other smaller services around town, locations where we can put them in affordable housing or whatever it is, the next step, and those certainly don't have to be in downtown. But a year-round shelter, to my way of thinking, somewhere down in that part of the city is going to work best, either in one location or in several, but in that area.
Well, great. Steve, thank you. That concludes our questions.
Okay.
And now we'll give you a couple minutes to wrap up and then conclude.
My appeal to people is simply that you get candidates who tell you what you want to hear, and then you wish they'd tell you the honest truth, and then someone comes along and says, look, this is what I know, this is what I don't know, this is what I can do, this is what I won't do. And it's like, well, we'd like for them to promise us more, and you just can't have it both ways. So I've taken the straightforward route, trying to bring some balance and some realistic answers to questions. And again, these come from 9 years of working down at City Hall. And in this case, I happen to know the people in the district. We run a very flat, egalitarian structure in the office, and I pick up the phone and I handle constituent calls. We don't just relegate that to people who are new on the staff. I believe the minute you lose touch with your constituents is the minute you've kind of drifted off into la-la land and you're not as useful as you could be. So I've spent 9 years getting to know people, answering their questions, helping them, getting out and looking at the problems over their back fence, standing on the street corner, looking at the potholes. They know me. I know issues down at City Hall. I've helped Donna Fry organize those issues. I've got some cursory familiarity with issues that I don't even deal with, as well as the ones I pick up on my own, plate to deal and help her brief each week. So I believe I'm the person who can actually pick up on day one and continue on with what we are ready to do, sometimes in regard to finances, some of these other social service issues. Somebody can kind of pick up and start right in and just go to work without having to spend 6 months to a year kind of learning, making mistakes, wondering what they would do if they had the time over the first information that they were missing kind of thing. We'll make plenty of mistakes, but I'm the one who's got experience and the one who's already got a connection with the people, the one who can pick up from day one and move on. And I very much would appreciate your vote, your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Steve.